Girls Talk Shirts.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Girls Talk Shirts. This is Emily.
And Savannah.
I hope you guys really enjoyed last week because...
We do apologize for how long it was.
It was incredibly long. We just pressed record and just talked.
And talked. Believe it or not, that was the cut version.
Yes, there was. The original version was over an hour and a half, and it took me a very long time to edit it down and have it make sense with where I was editing in between like pure sentences. But I think it turned out fairly well.
I think it was good. But it was very long.
Yes, very, very long. So I'm sorry if you went to go listen to it and you saw that it was 75 minutes. If that deterred you from listening to it, I apologize. But also, give it a listen if you haven't to yet. I think it's a good episode. I think you kind of get a little bit of the behind the scenes of where we came from, who we were back then, how Savannah and I were able to start a friendship in the first place. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a good episode.
Yeah, which we didn't even like touch on that at all.
Honestly, it's a topic that requires another episode.
A whole other 75 minutes of your time.
But this week, we wanted to again do a fun kind of episode. Hopefully one that is a lot shorter, maybe a third of the time, hopefully, fingers crossed. And that is talking about our lovely hometown of Lakeland, Florida. Mm-hmm. And Savannah failed to bring her computer today, so it is all on me to do all of the research, which when I say research, I mean ChatGPT. I'm typing in, give me some information about Lakeland, Florida. What can you come up with? So we're just going to go through what ChatGPT has given us, and then if we feel like there's more that we want to say or add, we will.
Yeah. Well, I do want to say something that sparked my curiosity of talking about this topic is that this weekend that we are recording this, it is Sun and Fun at the Lakeland Linder Airport, here in Lakeland, obviously. And I've actually never been. I was telling Emily this. I've, in my 31 years of living in Lakeland, never leaving, I have, unless my parents took me as a young child, I have no recollection if they did. But I have never been to Sun and Fun. Not gonna lie, nor do I really care to.
You don't want to be in some sun and have some fun?
Just to be out in the sun, for one, is just not my cup of tea. And two, I don't really care about airplanes enough to pay the hefty price tag that Sun and Fun charges you to go see a few planes in the air and or not in the air and just walk around them. But you can see them. If you're around Lakeland, you are obviously aware of Sun and Fun, and you know all the places that you can go and watch the planes if that is your only intent to watch them. There's numerous places around that you like. At Lakeside Village, there's people just lined up watching it from there.
Yep. I live off of Airport Road, and there are people just all over the place on that road on Drainfield that just pull over. They get out their folding chairs, maybe a tent or two to protect themselves from the harmful rays of the sun, and just sit there and watch. And I just asked ChatGPT one more time, hey, can you tell me a little bit about Sun and Fun so we can properly educate all of our listeners? And here's what ChatGPT came up with. So if you don't like it, blame AI, all right? Sun and Fun is an annual aviation event held in Lakeland, Florida. All right, we already explained that. Mm-hmm. Or maybe we didn't explain what it actually was. It's an aviation thing. If you're into airplanes and helicopters and that sort of thing. It's one of the largest air shows in the world, apparently. And it attracts aviation enthusiasts from all over the globe.
I don't know if it does that. Are they coming
from ever? I don't know. Maybe.
Because you can't even fly into Lakeland unless you're flying from New Haven, and that doesn't even start till June. But
So you're telling me you're flying into what? Tampa or Orlando and driving all the way over here?
to watch some planes that you just got off of.
Yeah, I mean, if that's you, please DM us so we can know for a fact. The event typically takes place over the course of several days. Yes, this is the last day it started, I don't know, several days ago. It lasts like a week, right?
I think it's
Maybe
almost a week,
5
like
days.
5 days.
Yeah. Offering a jam-packed schedule of thrilling aerial displays, educational workshops, exhibitor booths, and more. Now, my husband, if I have not explained this yet on this podcast, is an aviation attorney. Don't ask me really what that means because I can ask ChatGPT if it knows. Anyway, last year he did have a booth and gave away these little like stress ball guys that looked like a fat pilot, you know, like a little stress ball, and tote bags and sunglasses, and it was a fun time for a little bit. He did not do it this year because 1, you have to pay for it. 2, he didn't really care to do it again. But yes, there are booths of all these different things. But it's really like only if you're really into aviation and airplanes do you want to go around and look at these booths.
Right.
I know that they have a booth for like people that like to fly with like their dogs, and it has like headphones for your dogs.
Interesting.
If that's the type of thing you're into. But yeah, so they've got aerial displays and different booths that you can look at. So that is something that happens in Lakeland every single year. If you've been thinking about coming to Lakeland, what can I do in Lakeland? Well, around this time of year, you can see Sun and Fun.
Go for it.
But also, did you know that Lakeland is also known as the Swan City? Why, do you ask? That's because the beautiful white swans that glide across our very own Lake Morton. These elegant birds have become a symbol of the city and are a must-see, apparently, for visitors.
You see, I have never met a person who says, hey, I have come from wherever, specifically to Lakeland, specifically to see the swans, which honestly, something I had just mentioned to Emily. I didn't realize that they are pretty much only to Lake Morton.
So we do have several lakes. And for some reason, they really only congregate at Lake Morton. They lay like their eggs and have their nest there. And then I don't know who it is that goes and makes these little structures around their nest. So I guess people and other creatures can't go and mess with the eggs.
I don't. Yeah, and our city also has these swan statues all over. I don't know what it takes for you to get a swan in your business area. Yeah. Like I know like the library has a swan, and then some of the other buildings downtown have swans. There was one time there was a crisis and one of the swans was stolen.
What?
I should have.
Surely they weigh.
I should have Googled that because I remember that being on the news that somebody stole one of the statue swans, which, for one, if that is your goal in life is to steal.
Where do you plan on putting this swan to showcase it? Then you're just telling everybody, hey I'm the one that stole this swan.
I don't get it, but I want to know what it takes to get a swan, who designs the swan, and how much does it weigh?
Speaking of designing the swans, I don't know if you remember this, if they did something similar in your elementary school, but I can remember being in like the 4th or 5th grade and the statues of swans were becoming like an actual thing, like a popular thing. And in my art class, they gave all of us like a picture of a swan and they wanted us to do a design on it. And whoever had like the best one, surely it wasn't just our school. Surely it was something like a county-wide thing or city-wide thing. And whoever had the best one, they were going to make that swan. And I don't know. I mean, this was 20 plus
Several
years
years
ago now. So I couldn't tell you who won, if it was an actual thing that they did eventually make, but I do remember being in art class in like the 4th or 5th grade and being like, what the heck am I, how do you decorate a swan? Honestly.
Yeah. I don't know. I went to 4 different elementary schools, so I don't remember ever doing something like that, but I know in the 4th grade, I was at a brand new school that had just opened. And then 5th grade, 4 weeks into 5th grade, I went to a different school. So maybe that was when that was happening, because I have no recollection of doing anything with a swan.
I was very into basketball at the time. And so I do remember trying to make my design a basketball theme. And I was trying to make like the long neck of the swan, like the basketball hoop.
Mm-hmm.
But it just didn't turn out. And I knew like I'm definitely not winning.
I was telling Emily before we pushed record, which again, we need to just push record whenever we get here. But I was telling her how yesterday I was downtown and we were walking through some of the shops, and one of them had this whole case of jewelry that every piece of jewelry had a swan on it. And apparently these people think that if you live in Lakeland, you need a piece of jewelry with a swan on it.
Well, it's the Swan City, Savannah.
I've never heard anybody refer to Lakeland as a Swan City.
It really is like a name that I think just a few years ago really became popular, if I'm being honest. I've lived here my entire life. There was a couple years where I moved to the middle of nowhere in Kentucky, but I mean, the majority of my life I've lived here, and it's been a very new kind of hipstery thing, if I'm being honest.
Well, also with the swans that we did forget to mention, that it was funny that Emily and I both heard this. We don't know if it's a myth.
Yes.
We don't know if it's true, but there's always been a story that goes around Lakeland that our swans, the original swans that inhabited Lakeland, were given to Lakeland from the Queen herself.
The Queen of England.
I don't know if that's accurate.
I don't know either, because it's just like, why would she? Out of all of the places that she could give some of her own swans, it's going to be Lakeland, Florida.
But does the Queen even have swans?
Yeah,
is that a
she
thing?
Does. That is a thing.
I thought
have
she had
you
the
never
corgis.
Well,
I thought that was like the thing.
Yes, but all of the creatures in England are hers technically.
I mean, well,
in the series of The Crown, I don't know if you've watched that.
I haven't.
You should. It's really good. And everybody knows that it's 100% accurate. There are places like where you see, these swans there. And I've been to England now twice. Mm-hmm. And it is like, oh, these are the Queen's swans. So I believe that she has swans and maybe had swans to give. But did she give them to us? I don't know. And was she the one that said they have to live on Lake Morton only? I also do not know the answer to that.
I was telling Emily, I could just picture in my head these swans walking through downtown, going from Lake Morton to like Lake Mirror.
You guys ready to head out? All right, here we go.
Because I mean, it's really, there's one street in downtown that hardly anybody drives on that could lead from Lake Morton to Lake Mirror, and they could safely get there. And now
people stop. I mean, people stop if there's, a duck or a swan crossing the road.
I'm pretty sure you get a hefty fine if you injure a swan.
Oh, yeah. They are protected. Mm-hmm. So anyway, moving on from swans.
Talked a lot about swans.
The next thing that ChatGPT thought we should talk about when it comes to Lakeland is all of the Frank Lloyd Wright architecture.
I wouldn't say there's a lot. I mean, it is the most, apparently. They say it's...
See, that's what I would say. I'm just like, is it a lot?
But it is the most.
People always say, oh, wow, look at all this Frank Lloyd Wright architecture. And maybe it's just because I don't care about architecture or know anything about architecture. But it's like, is it that great? I don't know. But let me tell you a little bit about it, listener. Lakeland is the home to one of the largest collections of Frank Lloyd Wright architecture in the world. Now, that word collections kind of bothers me because to me, a collection is something that you go someplace else and you get it and you take it home and you are collecting it. Is this a collection, or did he is it just where he built a whole bunch all at once? I don't know. Maybe I guess collection has multiple meanings. The Florida Southern College campus boasts 13 right-designed structures, making it a paradise for architecture enthusiasts. Now, I went to Florida Southern College for one entire semester. And I gotta say, I don't get it. It doesn't seem like that big of a deal to me. The ceilings are very low. I don't know if when he was designing it, people were a lot shorter.
I've never even seen a picture of this man that people are so enthused with.
No idea. But they changed the name of that road. The road that Florida Southern was on, it wasn't always called Frank Lloyd Wright Way or whatever the heck it's called. It used to be called something else. And then several years ago, they were like, hey, you know what? This is the biggest collection in the world. We should probably name it after him.
There's also a house that's on, I think it's on the corner of like Cleveland Heights and like Edgewood, that I believe is like a Frank Lloyd.
Now, see, I thought the house was right there by Florida Southern.
I think there is one that is near Florida Southern, but I'm pretty sure this house was for sale, and I looked it up and it said that it was either an actual Frank Lloyd Wright architect or it was
or
like
just inspired.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was the same thing, like the low kind of looking ceilings. And so
I don't know anything else about this man other than he designed Florida Southern. Like, where are his other architectural things? I could not tell you.
Yeah. Like, obviously he had to have designed something else for Florida Southern to be like, hey, come build our school.
Yeah.
But
and you know what? Make it the largest one.
The largest collection.
Yeah. In the world now, Frank, you cannot build any more anywhere else.
No.
Just here in Lakeland, Florida. So there's that. I don't feel like, do you want to talk about it anymore?
No, I think that's good.
Okay. Moving on. The Publix headquarters. Now, if you live somewhere where there is not a Publix, I feel so sorry for you. I myself lived in an area where Publix was not a thing. I had to shop at a Kroger.
See, I don't mind Kroger. They didn't have Publixes at all?
No, they just opened their very first Publix in Kentucky in Louisville just a few months ago. But it was in talks when we moved there. And Louisville was like 2.5 hours from where we were living. And I told Anthony, I will drive.
Take a cooler.
To that Publix and just make it like a massive grocery shopping day. And if I can make it like every single month and just buy a whole bunch of stuff, I will. But we moved back here before they opened that. But yeah, there was, Publix was not a thing there. I think it really is just like a southeast thing. Let's see what ChatGPT has to say about it. Lakeland is the birthplace of Publix supermarkets, one of the largest grocery store chains in the United States. Now, see, I don't understand that because they're not everywhere. Unless they just have so many in the places that they're at. Because, I mean, we do have a ton of Publixes here.
I thought the first one opened in Winter Haven.
Let me see what ChatGPT has to say about it. Not only can you find the original Publix store downtown, but you can also visit the Publix corporate headquarters and even take a tour to see how the magic happens. Now, that was, I don't know if you ever did this. Maybe you didn't because you changed elementary school so often and you just missed it. But that was a field trip that I remember doing, I believe in the 5th grade, was going to the headquarters and having like a tour. And then they gave us ice cream at the end.
Nope, did not do that. But I went to McKeel for the rest of 5th grade. And it was brand new. So we didn't do anything.
I believe George Jenkins is who created Publix. And we have a high school here called George Jenkins High School after him. And yeah, so if you do not live in Lakeland, but you live in a place where you are shopping at a Publix and being pleasured by it, you're welcome. It all started here. Moving on. Unless, do
No.
you have more you want to say about Publix? I mean, I love Publix.
I mean, I do too.
If you do have the chance to go to Publix, I would say go there, get some sweet tea because their sweet tea is really good.
Get you a pub sub.
Get a pub sub. I like the chicken tender sub, or I really actually kind of like it more as a wrap. But
I just like the chicken tenders. I actually really prefer the popcorn chicken.
The popcorn chicken is so good. Get yourself some cookies.
The sugar
chocolate chip,
ones with
sugar,
the sprinkles.
With sprinkles, peanut butter. You can leave alone the oatmeal raisin because who's actually eating
Get you
those
a cake. They have their cakes are
Their
superior.
cakes are so good.
Especially the one with like the strawberry filling. And,
Ooh,
oh my
okay.
gosh, so good.
Okay.
So good.
Yes, but it's just such a nice store, and they really like
Shopping truly is a pleasure.
It really is. Like every employee, like even if they're having a bad day, I don't know it because they are helping me whenever I need help. They are restocking the shelves. They are helping me find whatever I need. Like, oh my gosh, it is so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they are a little bit more expensive.
Yeah,
than like a Walmart. But I will pay the extra price to get the
quality.
Experience.
Yes, the quality of the experience, the quality of the food.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, 100%.
Yep.
Moving on from Publix now.
Mm-hmm.
Spring training. Are you a baseball fan?
I used to be.
I am now. My oldest son is playing baseball and he really loves it. So I'm getting into it. Okay. Baseball fans rejoice. Lakeland is where the Detroit Tigers hold their spring training every year at the historic Joker Marchant Stadium. Catching a game here is fun and quintessential Lakeland experience. Now, I just did go to a spring training game. It was the last one that they had of the season, and it was a lot of fun. Now, they were playing the Rays, and if I had to pick a team to root for, it would be the Rays.
Mm-hmm.
But because we were there for like the Detroit Tigers, we kind of like rooted for the Tigers a little bit, and the Tigers did end up winning. But it was a really good game. It is just fun to just kind of go out there and sit and watch.
Yeah.
I have not been to a Flying Tigers game.
No.
I don't think ever.
I've never been to a Flying Tigers game. I did go to a couple spring training games because they would usually have one around my birthday. And if they were playing the Rays, that I usually would go. So I did go to a couple in the past years. Not past. It was the last one I went to. I was still in probably my senior year of high school or like first year of college. But I would only have gone if they were playing the Rays.
Yeah.
And then I did go to just a regular Rays game. But I'm really not into baseball for it to be something that I do on like a regular basis.
Yeah. That's fine by me. I don't care. I think it can be fun, but I think I'm really only getting into it because Atticus is getting into it. You know, like if he wasn't, then obviously I wouldn't. Mm-hmm. Because I mean, Anthony isn't a sport person, so it's not like it's in our house all the time.
Yeah,
you know. Now the next thing that ChatGPT put on here is Hollis Garden.
It's where everybody takes their homecoming pictures.
Yep. If you are getting ready for homecoming and maybe even prom, you're probably going to go to Hollis Gardens to take your pictures.
I've actually noticed a lot more people going to Florida Southern to take pictures.
You know
recently.
what? I have seen that. Yeah. And I don't really know why, unless they're going because of the architecture. But yeah, I mean, at least at Hollis Gardens, it has like flowers and stuff, but what is the draw to Florida Southern? I don't really know.
I don't know either.
But if you're looking for a peaceful escape, head to Hollis Garden.
A lot of people get married there too.
Yeah.
A lot of weddings there. And then a lot of just pictures.
I mean, it is a nice little place, but it is small. You know, like ChatGPT goes on to say that it's a botanical garden. It's a hidden gem in Lakeland with lush landscapes, colorful flowers, serene water features.
It has one fountain.
Yeah, it's the perfect spot for a leisurely stroll or a relaxing picnic. And maybe so. But also, I mean, I've definitely taken several pictures in there before. Mm-hmm. So maybe I can post that in preparation for this episode. I don't know, maybe. But also,
I just don't find Hollis Gardens being something that is like...
Does it deserve to be on this list of 10 fun and unique things?
No.
In Lakeland? I don't think so, Hollis. I don't think so. I really should have pre-read these things. Because now the next one is the Polk Museum of Art.
Oh, I've never been to the Polk Museum of Art.
Now, again, I think I've gone there on a field trip. Have I gone there of my own free will?
Absolutely not.
No, I'm just not an art person. Mm-hmm. So that's all I'm going to say about that one. Next, First Friday.
I do thoroughly enjoy First Friday.
I do like a good First Friday. Now, let me tell you, what do you mean First Friday? Experience the vibrant culture of Lakeland at First Friday. On the first Friday of every month, downtown streets come alive with live music, local vendors, food trucks, and family-friendly activities. It's a lively event that celebrates the community spirit of Lakeland. Now, it is fun. If you don't mind being in crowds, then I think it's a good time. Maybe if you have 3 rowdy and rambunctious children, I don't know, maybe it's something that you might avoid more often than actually going. But I do like doing it. I think it is fun. I love a good like food truck rally type of thing and like getting a little bit from several different trucks.
They do also have a food truck rally that they do on like the third Thursday of every month.
Yeah.
I have not been to that.
I think I have gone to that like once.
But I do really enjoy First Friday, mainly just because I like all the vendors, even though they're basically the same vendors if you go to the Saturday morning market. But they usually have like things for like the kids and like I said, just the vendors are cool and there's usually a car show.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do like it. Like if maybe you're looking to like see like what different restaurants or something that there is in Lakeland and you're just not sure. Like I think definitely going to something like First Friday or the Saturday, whatever that thing is called.
I think it's just called the Lakeland or downtown market.
Yeah.
Like that.
I definitely think going to something like that you can see all of these different vendors and stuff that you maybe just didn't know existed before. And so I think that that's really cool. Mm-hmm. Now it wants us to talk about Lake Mirror, which we have kind of mentioned a little bit. Lake Mirror is right next to Hollis Gardens. So if you're at Hollis Gardens, you're pretty much at Lake Mirror. They're connected.
Yeah.
And it's nice. I do take my kids there fairly frequently. We go and we will feed the ducks and whatnot that are there. And then there's a playground called Barnett Park. That's right there that I let them play at. So that's that. Let's see. You can take a scenic walk around it.
That's about it.
That's about it. There's a swan. This says swan-shaped paddle boats. Never seen that before a day in my life.
Either. Can you rent swan-shaped
I don't know.
boats?
It says, with its stunning promenade, iconic Hollis fountain, and swan-shaped paddle boats, Lake Mirror offers a tranquil escape from the hustle and bustle of city life. First of all, I realize that Lakeland is expanding, but let's not act like it's downtown Tampa or Orlando or something like, or New York City. Like it's still a smaller city. So let's not act like, oh, there's just so much hustling and bustling going on. Let's go out on this swan-shaped paddle boat and relax.
I do need the growth to slow down a little bit.
Where would they even keep paddle boats?
I don't know. I have never seen paddle boats out on that lake.
It's not even a big enough lake for like multiple people to be out on paddle boats.
But there's not even like a dock or anything.
Yeah, like what?
Like, do you have to have an extra person to like push you out?
Now there is a small little ramp on the side where like the joinery is, but it's a very tiny ramp, which I'm assuming is like what they use whenever they put like that Christmas tree in the middle of it at Christmas time.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never seen anybody actually using it. For
Wait, that's
anything.
Lake Mirror. I thought we were talking about Lake Morton.
No, this is Lake Mirror.
Oh, I thought we were talking about Lake Morton. I mean,
no, we talked about Lake Morton. Lake Morton was the
Swans.
Was the Swans? Yeah. So now we're talking about Lake Mirror.
Yeah. Okay.
So
but I still have never seen a.
I mean, I fully explained Lake Mirror, talking about Hollis Garden, and talking about Barnett Park, and you still thought I was talking about Lake Morton?
No, just with the paddle boats. My mind went there because they're swan shaped and the swans are at Lake Morton.
Yes.
And so that's what made me think of Lake Morton. But Lake Mirror does have that little like ramp thing. But I've still never seen a
there
paddle
are no
boat.
paddle boats. You lied, ChatGPT. I don't know where you got your information.
I think there's a disclaimer at the bottom of ChatGPT that says like to check with like research.
Not all information is accurate.
Yeah.
Nope. It hasn't told me anything.
Uh-oh.
Fact check before you start talking about it on your podcast. Anyway, it is a nice little lake. And I do know that there are people that like walk around it. It's not the biggest lake to walk around. It's not Lake Hollingsworth, but it is a nice, I do like it because it does have an actual like walkway all the way around it. Whereas Lake Morton doesn't. It just has like grass, which is fine. But like, you don't know if you're going to be stepping in like bird poop or bird eggs, like their nests or whatever. And it's just so easy to just walk straight into the lake. Whereas Lake Morton has like a big brick type of like border around it.
Yeah.
So
it is pretty out there. We looked at getting married on Lake Mirror.
I have been to a wedding out there before.
Yeah, because you can do it through the terrace, and we were going to do that. We've seen weddings out there and they're really, really pretty.
All right. So the next one on the list is Circle B Bar Reserve. Have you ever been out there before?
Nope.
Really? I went out there not too long ago with Eloise and Bo and our friend Danielle and her kids. And it's fun. It's, let's see, nature lovers will delight in exploring the Circle B Bar Reserve, a sprawling wildlife sanctuary located just outside of Lakeland. Here you can hike, bike, or birdwatch while immersing yourself in the natural beauty of Florida's wetlands.
So it's not in Lakeland?
I guess technically it's like the very edge of Lakeland. It's on Winter Lake Road.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like if like you're going towards like Polk State College and you just keep going.
You pass Polk State.
You pass Polk State and keep going, and then it's down there. I've been there several times. Again, went there on a field trip. But
it went to the wrong school.
But this field trip was when I was in collegiate high school, and it was for one of the college courses that I took. It was a biology class, and so we went out there to look at the different wildlife and stuff. And I want to say that was my first time ever being out there because I did not wear the right shoes. I wore flip-flops, which it is kind of like a wetland, like hikey type of thing. And you should definitely wear like closed-toed shoes for sure. But yeah, I mean, there's trails that you can walk, and on part of the trail you get to walking around Lake Hancock, I think is maybe what it's called. And you can see alligators out there. There at one part of the trail is called Alligator Alley, which I guess just means that that's maybe where a lot of alligators maybe like to hang out.
They just let you walk through it with alligators right there?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I think they have people that maybe like every day kind of go out there and just make sure that like the conditions are good for you to go out there. I know that I've gone before and like it has just like rained or something and like half of the trail gets like washed out. And so they have like a gate that they close so you can't go the full way. And there's like, I've seen wild hogs out there. I've seen raccoons out there.
Interesting.
There's snakes. Just like, it's like you do encounter wildlife sometimes. I have also been out there and seen nothing, but a lot of people like bird watchers that like actually like have like those massive cameras. A ton of people like that will be out there just like taking pictures of the different birds and stuff. Like I think I've seen like a bald eagle out there before, but yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, it is nice. And like if you like to like walk outdoors, but like once you start the trail, you kind of have to finish it. And it can kind of take a little while, especially if you're there with like small humans that have shorter legs and keep stopping all the time and keep asking for snacks. You know, it can take a while, but it is nice out there. I do like it.
Yeah.
We should go sometime.
We should.
With the girls. So yeah, that's a little bit about Lakeland. Is there anything else that you think?
I know one thing I wanted to ask you specifically. Was there anything when you lived in Kentucky that you just really missed about Lakeland besides Publix?
I was just going to say Publix. So besides Publix,
like anything that stands out to you since you did move to a different place?
Well, you have to understand like where we moved was, and I'm not saying this like to be like derogatory or mean, but it was kind of the middle of nowhere. Like it wasn't in a city that was of equal size as Lakeland. And again, Lakeland really isn't that big, but it is starting to expand more and more.
Which that can slow down at any point.
Yeah, like are that many people really trying to move here? I
don't
find
know
that hard to believe.
Keep our orange groves, and just send people away.
We also have, or at least had, orange groves here, and now they're taking them all away and putting up houses and apartment buildings, and it's just, please, whoever needs to be listening to this, I don't know, is it the governor? Is it Ron DeSantis? Is it the mayor? Whoever that is, I couldn't tell you. Please stop. We don't need any more, please. But yeah, so we moved to a very, very remote location. We weren't even really in between, like we were in between two very small towns where we were. And so it was just almost kind of like a culture shock type of thing of like a grocery store was kind of far away. Restaurants were far away, you know, just things that we were very used to having here just wasn't as accessible there. So I think I just kind of missed that. Like a lot of, there was one playground, which was fine. And it was a nice little playground. But here, you know, there are a handful of different playgrounds that I could go to and take the kids to. And I mean, especially like when we moved there, Eloise wasn't even one yet, and I was pregnant with Bo. So it's not like she could even really do anything at a playground yet. But
just the ease of access to things.
Yeah, just having a lot of access to stuff. And just a lot of like kid friendly or kid oriented things. Like we have the children's museum here, and that wasn't something that we necessarily had there, or at least close by. And family, all of our family was here, and we didn't have any there. The sun, because Kentucky does have like actual seasons. And here, like, yeah, we have seasons, but it's not the same really as everywhere else. And you do have the sun really for the entire year. I mean, it might not be like perfect conditions the entire year to like actually like lay out and get a tan. But you kind of can the majority of the time, you
Right.
know, like really enjoy being outside, but they are like, it could snow and be insanely cold to where like I didn't want to go outside, and it would just be like overcast like every single day in like the winter months. And it really is like, I can understand why people get like seasonal depression, because like you're never like really seeing the sky and really seeing the sun.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, you don't really understand like how that can truly affect you and like your mood,
Right.
until you're in it and you're kind of like, whoa, like this is such a weird feeling. Like, why do I feel depressed and like not like myself? And it's like, I don't know. It's like, because you're probably not getting enough vitamin D anymore because you can't, you know, get any good, you know, UV rays or whatever it is. And so, yeah, I really missed that. But I guess that's more of just like a Florida thing. That's not just like only Lakeland type of stuff.
I would love to have seasons. Maybe one day I will.
You say that, but I don't know. I mean, winter, like having to winterize your vehicles and, you know, like got to salt your driveways and your porches and whatnot. And like, I don't know. I mean, I have a dog. I was having to put, you know, these stupid little like shoe things on her for her to want to go outside in the snow and pee. But of course, she still didn't. And she would just pee in the garage. You know, like having to like shovel out a path for her to like want to go poop or something. Like,
yeah,
I guess it is kind of nice. Like, oh yeah, I think you can really see like the leaves changing or something. But then it's just kind of like, I don't know. It wasn't uber necessary for me to have that.
Yeah.
You know, I like the seasons we have here. We have summer, we have hurricane season, love bug season.
Ugh,
second summer.
Stupid love bugs. I hate love bugs more
Second
than
love
anything.
bug season.
There are 2 love bug seasons every year, and it's awful.
Yeah.
Oh,
maybe ChatGPT can tell me about love bugs.
How they need to be incinerated.
Because I think that's like just a Florida thing.
They
isn't
were
it?
like an accidental creation, I think.
Now it's giving me way too much. Love bugs, scientifically known as a name I can't pronounce, are a species of fly that is prevalent in certain regions of the southeastern United States, including Florida. They are best known for their unique mating behavior, which gives them their name. So yeah, if you don't know what a love bug is, I don't know, Google it. When they mate, they attach like their butts to each other. I know that like on a bug, that's not technically called their butt, but it
looks like their butt.
It's their butt. It's their bottom half of their bodies, and they are attached. And if you detach them, I'm pretty sure they die, or at least one of them dies. Because when they attach, one ends up getting bigger than the other, and one's kind of small. And I think if you detach them, which is not hard to do, you literally just kind of, and I think the smaller one just dies at that point.
Interesting.
And they don't do anything to you.
They're just obnoxious.
They just fly around. They do not bite. They might land on you and kind of crawl around a little bit, but that's it. They don't do anything to you.
My issue is they're like colonies.
Yeah.
Can be like massive. I know on one of our like little columns on our front porch, we came out one day and they're painted white, but it looked like it had streaks of white because all of it was covered in love bugs.
Yeah.
And
they do. I think I read somewhere once that like they are attracted to
like fumes
or whatever. So like they'll be closer to roads. And so like as you're driving, you're gonna hit just swarms of love bugs. And so you're constantly washing them off of your car.
Well, they say also because like whenever you like mow your yard, like the fumes coming from that or just like the stirring of you cutting your lawn, it attracts them. So right after you do all this yard work, then you're suddenly swarmed with stupid love bugs. But
I just asked ChatGPT if the Queen of England gave Lakeland, Florida swans. And it says, while it's a popular legend in Lakeland, Florida, There's no evidence to support the claim that the Queen of England gave swans to the city. The story goes that Queen Elizabeth II gifted a pair of swans to Lakeland in the 1950s as a token of friendship.
Because only Lakeland needed to be friendship.
Your Majesty. We need to be friends with a small town in Florida called Lakeland.
Not the whole country, just the state.
What can we do to become friends with them? I've got it. What if we gift them a pair of your lovely my swans? My swans? It's the only way, Your Majesty. However, there's no official record or documentation to substantiate this tale. The truth is, the swans in Lakeland's Lake Morton were actually introduced by a local resident named Mrs. Robert Pickard. In the 1920s, she brought a pair of swans to the lake to beautify the area and honor her late husband, who had been fond of the birds. Since then, the swan population in Lakeland has grown, and they have become a beloved symbol of the city. While the story of the Queen of England gifting swans adds a touch of romance to Lakeland's history, it appears to be more of a charming myth than a documented fact. So at least it is like a known thing that it is like a myth that like we just like didn't make this up. But who started that? And why?
I want to know where the lady got the swans.
Yeah. Interesting.
Did she live on Lake Morton and just decided that's the lake?
I don't know. And why? I get that swans are like this like majestic looking creature, but like out of all the things to beautify the lake,
why are we adding some swans?
Why swans that are just going to poop everywhere?
Add some flowers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
I guess it was because her husband really liked them, but also I don't know.
No.
I almost kind of wish I didn't look that up because I kind of liked thinking that the Queen actually gave them to us. So the shirts we're going to talk about this week we're going to bring it back to the story that we told a few episodes ago of Savannah ordering some shirts online, and then I also ordered them. Mm-hmm. We both now have them. So I mean, I was not expecting to get mine as quickly as I did. She must have figured out how to use her machine.
Her printer.
And everybody was healthy again. So they were able to ship them out. One thing that I will say that I don't like about one of the shirts. So one of the ones that we both got, you know, it says the heavens are roaring, the praise of his glory. And when I first saw it, I could have swore it had a lion on it. But when I got it and I looked at it, it's not a lion, it's a tiger. Mm-hmm. And that just really bothers me that it's a tiger and not a lion.
See, my issue is also with that shirt, but in the ad, because that was the free shirt that you got.
Yes.
But in the ad, that shirt has the animal in question and some of the words in this like blue color. It almost looks like a denim type blue.
Yep.
However, I'm assuming yours is like this as well. But mine, you can barely even see it because the color of the blue is basically white. And you can see an idea of what it is. But if you're not looking hard enough, I don't think you can tell really what it is if you're just like catching a glimpse of it.
Yeah. I mean, mine is also, it is a very pale, light blue. So yeah, I think maybe, you know, maybe people just won't notice that it's really there and even notice that it's not a lion and it's a tiger. But it's like, why a tiger? Why did you choose a tiger? I just feel like, I don't know.
Biblically, it would make sense
if it was a lion. Isn't he called like the Lion of Judah? Mm-hmm. And by he, I'm talking about obviously our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Like, why? I mean, I almost want to say that maybe when he or she went to go make the design, maybe having a lion, maybe they weren't able to get a lion design. And so they just went with a tiger. But I don't know. It just like, I don't want it to bother me, but I haven't even been able to get myself to wear the shirt. The other one, the In My Praying Mama era, I do like that one and I have worn it. But the other one, I just can't like, oh, what if somebody does notice that it's a tiger and not a lion? It just bothers me. And I wish it didn't, but it does. Yeah. And I know that is so silly to like be bothered by that, but it's just kind of like,
yeah,
why isn't it a freaking lion?
Yeah. But then again, it's so light, people probably can't even see it. And
I bet if I wonder, have you washed yours yet?
Yes.
And did it fade at all? No? Dang. Anyway, those are the shirts. They are the comfort colors.
They are, except the tags on mine are different than tags on my other comfort color t-shirts. I don't know if that makes a difference, but like they feel slightly different to me.
Yeah.
And so that's why I really don't know if they're really comfort colors.
But like if they're not real comfort colors, then how would it have the tag that says, I mean, you think whoever is making these shirts is stitching on a fake comfort colors tag?
Maybe that's why I take them so long.
Maybe. I don't know. I will say that they do feel different from the other comfort color shirts that I do have. But I mean, it has the tag that says comfort colors on it. So I don't know. Maybe there are different types of comfort colors. Like maybe they have one that is a little bit cheaper. Maybe. And so therefore it doesn't feel as nice as other ones.
Yeah. I do feel like in my Praying Mama era did shrink slightly because I did get that one oversized. Like I got it a little bit bigger to make it oversized, and it doesn't feel, after I've washed it once, it doesn't feel as oversized as it was.
Okay.
And then because I bought them both the same size, like the same idea, like to make it oversized. And the Heavens Are Roaring one it still feels oversized. And I even put it up next to that one and it does look smaller. So that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense either. Did you wash them at the same time?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. The plot thickens.
Yeah. And all of my regular comfort colors that I've gotten from like Cap and Cole, those haven't shrunk or changed sizes at all.
Yeah, so maybe it does have to do with the type of comfort color shirt. I don't know.
Maybe. But we finally got them.
Yes. So we have them. Do I need to order anything else from that company? No, I do not. And I do, unfortunately, now like get emails from them all the time, and they are still popping up on my Facebook, my Instagram. I just need to go in and like click like, don't show me this ad anymore, because unfortunately it just hasn't been the best experience to where like I will be like, oh yeah, maybe I will eventually get something from them again. I just don't think it will.
No. And honestly, there wasn't a whole lot of designs that like really jumped out at me, because when I had to find a shirt, because you got the Heavens Are Roaring shirt for free, so you had to find one, and there wasn't a whole lot that like really stuck out except for the In My Praying Mama era. And so I don't know, maybe if I would have had a better experience and the shirts were a little bit better, then maybe I would have tried harder to like find, because I'm sure I could have found another one.
Yeah.
But I'm not even going to bother with it, because you have to wait way too long for them. And then the quality just doesn't seem great.
Yeah.
But
well, that's our shirt talk of the day. I hope you guys enjoyed this very laid back episode. Yeah. We did very heavily rely on ChatGPT today to give us some help with really kind of figuring out what to talk about with Lakeland. We both do love our city. I mean, I left and was pretty desperate to get back. So it is a great place. It is expanding. If you are looking for a place to live, maybe try somewhere else. But if you want to move here, there's plenty of options now because they're building houses and apartments everywhere. In every little square inch of grass that they can find, they're putting a house there. Mm-hmm. So, we hope you guys liked it. Again, this was just a very, very laid back episode today. Not anything out of the ordinary going on, anything super extravagant. Mm-hmm. If you think that we missed something that we should have talked about when it comes to Lakeland, please DM us and we'll think about making it a little blurb on another episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can find us on Instagram at Girls Talk Shirts Pod. And that's where we post anything and everything. I still may make more reels about fine arts. I feel like there is a lot of more content there that I could make. But I'm also trying to tread lightly. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings with anything. So yeah, do you have anything else you want to add, Savannah?
I may add something. You can like cut it out and like plop it back in when we're talking about Lakeland if you wanted to.
Okay.
But I did one thing in Lakeland that I was actually at today that I do really love is the Terrace Hotel. It is, I'm pretty sure, like the oldest hotel in Lakeland, maybe.
Possibly.
I don't know, but it's downtown. It's beautiful. I love it. And I was there today for a baby shower for one of the doctors I work with at the surgery center, Dr. Jibo. She does listen. Shout out to you, Dr. Jibo.
Thank you for your for listening and for your support, Dr. Jibo. This is Emily Eisen. Like one of my brother-in-laws. That's awesome. Thank you so much for listening.
Yes. So I was at her baby shower today at the Terrace. It was absolutely beautiful. I even told Emily it was the most beautiful baby shower I have ever been to in my life. But yeah, the Terrace Hotel, it's super nice and it's right in the middle of downtown.
Yeah.
And
I think if you are coming to stay, I would stay there at the Terrace. You're right in the middle of downtown. You can walk to so many places from there. Lake Mirror is right there. And there's a giant statue of a swan kind of opening up its wings, getting ready to take off. And yeah, it's very pretty. Jerry Seinfeld has stayed there before. He came and did like a comedy set at the Civic Center. I think is where that was. And he stayed at the Terrace, which is just a fun little thing to add in there about the Terrace is that when Jerry Seinfeld's in town, he's staying at the Terrace Hotel.
Yeah. So. I've stayed there a couple times. I did stay there after Caroline's wedding. A bunch of us stayed there, and then my husband and I have stayed there a couple times just when we want to walk around downtown. It's just easy. Fun little date night. If you don't have your kids, just get a room and walk around downtown. It's super fun. But yeah, I just want to add that.
All right. Well, thank you guys again for listening. This has been another uneventful episode here on Girls Talk Shirts. I hope you guys come back next week where we talk about who knows what, because we don't decide it until the day of.
If there is a topic that is heavy on your heart that you want to hear our opinions on or our journeys through, let us know.
Yeah. Yes. Please, please, please leave us a comment or go into our DMs and say, hey, like, can you guys talk about this or that? And we will, take the time to do the research and make sure that we are talking about it appropriately and in the right context and everything. So yeah, we definitely will talk about whatever you guys are wanting to hear.
Mm-hmm. I know there's some more deeper topics that we've talked about going into, and I'm sure we will in the future talk about like postpartum depression and just health and wellness, just different topics that maybe are a little bit more heavier and just in depth that we want to talk about. But if there's anything, it can be lighthearted. It can be a heavy topic. We are pretty much open books at this point.
Yes.
So we're happy to talk about anything. Just let us know.
Yep. All right. We will talk to you guys next week.
Bye.